Okay, a lot of updates in this video, but as I exported the video, another update just came out. Obama just dropped his update, stopped short of endorsing Kamala, praised Joe, but it's going to make a lot of sense as you watch this entire video. Obama said he has confidence that the Democratic Party is going to come up with a fair process, for choosing the next nominee. This is really important information. It'll make a lot of sense in what you're about to hear. Nobody else is talking about this yet, so make sure to subscribe here. Let's get into it. A few more things quickly. There's so much news happening. RFK said, quote, if they had done this from the beginning, I wouldn't have left the Democratic Party. Democrats need to find who is best to beat Trump. Now, this is really interesting because RFK is holding a press conference later in the day, and some people are speculating that RFK might flip back to Dem because he realizes he can't make it as an independent and try to compete in this open primary that's coming. We'll talk about that in a moment. That's the mini competition regarding what Obama's alluding to. But to reiterate this, you'll learn more in the video. It'll make sense in the video. But to reiterate this, even more news, you just had Harris post that she, quote, intends to earn and win this nomination. Earn implies fighting in a mini primary. And Pete Buttigieg just last night joined Kamala at a campaign event where they raised $2 million. And so some people are now speculating, oh, black woman and gay. That'll be the next ticket. And you had Alex Soros endorse Kamala Harris, which Elon after that said, thanks for not keeping people in suspense in terms of who the next puppet would be. Okay, now let's get into the video. Oh, and for the people wondering if we're actually flying, here you go. We are presently flying about 500 miles an hour. Oh, 498. 499. Here we go. By now, we already know that Joe Biden has quit. We announced it while I was on my run, and it happened. But we've got a lot more to talk about. First, we've got to understand what's happening next. Who is the new nominee going to be? Yes, Joe Biden did end up endorsing Kamala, even though he didn't at first. It took 20 minutes for him to. But we got to talk about what's next. We got to talk about what the Obamas and Pelosi and Clintons are up to. Then we got to talk about Whitmer and Newsom and what the market implications of this are going to be this week. I've got some serious concerns about it all. So let's get started. First with something very serious. We're about 6,000 subscribers away from 2 mil. So if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. And it's National Ice Cream Day. So what a great day to go to Vegas when it's 110 degrees. Anyway, so let's focus. 11 days ago, Nancy Pelosi on July 10th and a delegation of about 40 California Democrats. Yes, I know, California Democrats. But anyway, they discussed the downsides of automatically crowning Kamala Harris. They thought it would actually turn off voters. Not that Democratic voters would turn around and vote for Trump, but Democrats don't like this idea of what the Democratic Party has been doing forever, which is we're just going to tell you how to play the game, and then you all go and vote for it. That's what they did during the California recall. That's what they do almost every single election. You're going to vote for no on recall. You're going to vote for Newsom. You're going to leave the rest of the ballot blank because we don't want you to have a backup candidate. It's literally what they did in 2021 in California, and people listen. But eventually people get frustrated and think the party may not be the best group of people to decide what America needs. Instead, it should be left to an open process. So it was apparently Obama, this is per Political, it was apparently the Obama camp that decided we hold a blitz primary. This is from the Obama team, that, hey, Democrats should hold a blitz primary and find out the best person to lead the Democratic ticket and the Democratic vice presidential ticket, because now obviously, you know, if Kamala runs, she's going to have to pick a VP. If it's Newsom or Whitmer, they're going to have to pick a VP. So all of these things have to get cleared up. Now remember, Nancy Pelosi was also one of the first to say, hey, was Biden's behavior episodic or like evidence of a larger condition? She was the first person to actually, I know a lot of people don't like Pelosi, but let's be real here. She was the first person to be reasonable, be like, I don't know, this could be a larger issue. And over the last few weeks, apparently Pelosi and her allies have been very clear about expressing their distaste for Biden potentially leading to the loss of the House, which they've already lost, but reiterating a loss in the House, losing the Senate and losing the presidency, and then you have a red sweep. Not good from a Democratic point of view. Of course, a lot of Republicans are very happy about this. That's why Republicans are like, we need to keep Joe Biden in because you're going to cream him. And frankly, that was true. If Joe Biden stayed and it was between a senile old man and Donald Trump, there would have been a landslide win for, well, frankly, Donald Trump. So now, what's going on? Well, the idea now is that the Clintons and Obamas will host mini primaries to find a new candidate. The Clintons just endorsed Kamala Harris, both Bill and Hillary. This suggests that Bill and Hillary are not going to be on a ticket again on their own. Instead, they're endorsing Kamala. You do not yet have an endorsement from Obama, though we expect that to follow. We also know that Whitmer and Newsom have acknowledged that Biden dropped out. They call him a hero for dropping out, but they have not endorsed Kamala. This means you could end up getting a Whitmer versus Kamala versus Newsom in what's called a blitz primary in August. Now, some people say, hey, but wait a minute. This is like Bill Ackman. If Kamala's not going to be the designated presidential nominee, then that means she wasn't fit to be VP. That's not necessarily true, Bill Ackman. You could still hold a blitz primary if people like another candidate better. That's okay. You don't have to be the next person. Now, one of the reasons I think that Kamala was not initially endorsed by Joe Biden is most of Joe Biden's camp didn't even realize this was happening. You had campaign staffers on Face the Nation this morning who were like, no, Joe Biden's looking forward to campaigning this week. And then what ended up happening? Joe Biden sends a letter from his personal Twitter account saying, I'm quitting. The presidential seal wasn't even on it. A lot of his campaign staffers are saying they found out through a post on X that Joe Biden was quitting before they heard from the Biden admin that he was quitting. So you could see these cards were held very, very closely to the chest here. It's the Pelosi's and the Obamas running the show here, okay? And maybe to some extent the Clintons. They run the Democratic Party, let's be real. Anyway, this happened on the fourth day that Biden was sequestering in Delaware because he has COVID, even though we see him get on and off planes to Delaware without masks on, whatever. There was also hours ago a new poll that put Biden down 7% in Michigan, more than double the deficit he had from before the debate, which means the polls were really starting to roll over and reflect the pain. Now, Joe Biden initially did not endorse Kamala, but he did 20 minutes later. So I think he got a lot of heat that he was overlooking a black female, and so a lot of people freaked out, and so Biden was forced to basically say, no, of course I endorse Kamala. So that followed, and now you're getting the typical bashing from both sides. The Democrats are saying, oh, yeah, Biden's a hero. Of course we have to support Kamala. And then you're getting Republicans like Trump and Speaker Johnson and a bunch of other Republicans like J.D. Vance saying, well, if Biden's not fit to campaign, then he's not fit to be in charge of the nuclear codes. He's not fit to be president. Donald Trump posted as much on his Truth Social. And while I'm not going to read you the whole thing, it's just worth noting that Donald Trump thinks that the only reason Joe Biden was actually elected is because of the fake news media and the lies and Joe Biden hanging out in his basement, and now the truth is coming out. Okay, fine. We understand this. Even Hakeem Jeffries is like, oh, Joe Biden's a hero. We have to support him. Again, Joe Biden supported him as well. The big question, though, is what is now the case for the ticket? Well, there are two things here. One, the $240 million war chest the Bidens have. Number two, the market. So number one, you can simply take that $240 million and move it to Kamala if she's the nominee because they're the same ticket. That's no problem. That's easy mode. If Kamala doesn't end up being the ticket nominee, that's okay. You will form a super PAC, and you can move the money from the Biden coffers to the super PAC. This is easy to do. Now, I want to be clear. A lot of people have heard that Elon is donating $45 million to President Trump, and then Elon says this is fake news. But let's be real. Elon Musk is just loopholing here. Elon Musk knows how to play politics better than the politicians do. Elon isn't donating to Trump because you can't. You can't donate to an individual more than like $3,700 a year. It's very simple. Instead, you create a super PAC that you can control that then spends millions of dollars on TV ads or whatever, flyers, whatever, promoting Donald Trump. This is why Elon Musk can, in the same vein, say, no, that's fake news. But then on the other hand, you have Trump going, wow, I'm getting $45 million a month from Elon. This is great. Elon plays politics better than the politicians. Don't doubt that man. But anyway, now the question is, what happens with the market and next steps? Well, this is my take, okay? And this is where a lot of people are going to say, I don't know, Kevin, I don't know. Look, massive uncertainty begins now from what happens in the Democratic ticket. This is very, very clear. When you have uncertainty before an election, you tend to see a market go down. I think the Qs could go down another 15%. We'll have a more detailed video in the future, and still no updates here from Newsom and Whitmer, even though they're active on Twitter right now. Clearly, they're not jazzed about endorsing Kamala. But I think you have a good chance of every risk asset selling down until the election, and the market will skyrocket after the election, probably no matter who is elected. This is very, very common. This is the stuff we teach in Stocks and Psychology of Money. We've been talking about this in our course member live streams every single morning that the market has been open, because we're looking, going, listen, yes, a lot of people are talking about a rotation to small caps, but look at these warning signs that actually say going short the Qs might be a better strategy. We look at CTA positioning. We look at what's happening with valuations. We do this every day in our course member live streams. Sometimes I don't get around to making a big video on YouTube about this. But uncertainty will now max, because the reality is no matter who the candidate is, the odds of Trump losing are now greater with anybody but Biden. Here's my point on that. I think you're 67% chance of a Trump victory versus Biden, 33% chance of a Biden victory. Now Biden's gone. Okay, so Biden's 0. Now put in Kamala. Honestly, you're probably like 58% Trump, 42% Kamala. You put in somebody like Whitmer, Newsom, or even Kamala if she wins through a blitz primary, those odds could squeeze down to maybe 54 to 46, 48 to 52. You'd actually have a real competition, and markets are going to have to price in that uncertainty. Markets don't like uncertainty. There's only one way they go. I don't want to fearmonger. I'm just trying to provide the news. You don't have to agree with that opinion. Subscribe. I'll give you more updates as they come out, but this is obviously a big game changer. Thank you so much. I got to get to Vegas now. We'll see you soon. Thanks. Goodbye. Make sure to subscribe and go to meetkevin.com to learn more about the courses on building your wealth, and meetkevin.com/mastermind to learn how you can one-on-one or small group mastermind with me in person on whatever you want to talk about. Let's go.